the Green Group, and it's London 2012 Food Vision, and it's Assembly Member Jones. So can we have an answer to the question about London 2012 Food Vision?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're very proud of the work we're doing with our sustainable food policy. I mean, I think in a word, the answer to the question, Jenny, is yes, we think that you can combine having sponsors in the food business with having a very effective and advanced and well-developed food delivery, which is what we think we're on the way to doing. I don't think there's any games or major sports event that's ever had the kind of sustainable food policy that we've got. We're going to showcase the best British quality food, regional, local, fresh produce, and the scale of what we're providing, 14 million meals, is actually quite helpful to have some big businesses who understand scale and operational delivery while you're trying to meet, very high both benchmark and aspirational targets.
I realise that I don't want to be mean to you. You're probably getting a bit tired with all of us hammering at you.
No, it's always a pleasure.
But the words I used were sustainable and ethical.
Yeah.
And, this is not really your fault because you didn't choose the top sponsors. But the fact is we've got top sponsors who don't really understand those two words, and they certainly don't implement them in their business dealings. Now, according to the Farmer's Guardian, McDonald's is officially exempt from the requirements of the London 2012 Food Vision as it has its own arrangements in place with the International Olympic Committee.
No, actually, it's actually the McDonald's sits on the Food Advisory Group that not only helps us comply with those standards, it actually supports those standards through our Food Vision. But let's put this into context. McDonald's spends £300 million a year on procuring food from British farming. The Open Farm Initiative, which was to introduce the urban elite to a concept that very few have an understanding of, about the difficulty and the management of the countryside. That in itself was pretty good. All beef comes from UK and Ireland farms. All pork does. If you look at eggs, they are completely free range. I mean, actually they make a serious contribution to the Food Vision.
I don't want to negate the good things that are happening, but what I'm saying is, why couldn't it be rolled out everywhere? And for example, the chicken that's going to be sold, and I would guess there's going to be a lot of dead chickens served up during the Olympics. The Olympics that McDonald's are producing are apparently 10% British, and the rest are going to be imported. Is that a figure that
they comply to international standards on that, particularly the Global Gap scheme, and this is Brazil chicken you're talking about?
Well, are you saying it's only chicken from Brazil?
No, I'm just talking about the Global Gap scheme. We're actually...
Well, my understanding is that they're only going to use British Red Tractor, but they're not actually using British Red Tractor, they're using an equivalent, so it's not actually British, because the British Red Tractor, for anybody who doesn't know anything about it, is the lowest possible standard. We absolutely need that standard, but it is the lowest.
They're using British Red Tractor or equivalent standards.
I know, but British Red Tractor actually says its overall vision commits to celebrate the great diversity and quality of British food and drink, not Brazilian food and drink or Indonesian food or drink. My point is, they are not delivering for British farmers. This is something.
No. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, Jenny. I really hate to disagree with you here, but they've spent 300 million on 17,500 UK and Irish farms. 55% of the food that they procure is actually from British farms. I repeat, all UK beef, all UK pork, eggs are free range and meet the line quality mark. All milk is organic. All fish, or what is left since the EU have taken our fishing grounds, is MSC qualified.
In that case, why couldn't they do it with chicken as well? Chicken is a really common food.
It's already increased its chicken sourcing from the UK quite dramatically, and from Western Europe it's at 55%.
But for the Games, I understand it's only going to be 10% British. Is that true? Is that a figure that McDonald's has given to you?
Yes, it is true.
Therefore, it is not upholding the food vision that you wrote to me in 2 years ago. I mean, we have exchanged a lot of letters on this.
We have indeed.
And when I was chair of London Food, I gave you a how-to guide to make the food at the Olympics. And this has a resonance way beyond the Games. I mean, a lot of the questions here today were about the Games themselves. This is something about British farming and local food that you, as LOCOG, could have made a huge difference in. British farming has welcomed many of the initiatives that have been introduced around this, and particularly the Open Farm Initiative, which introduces urban communities to something that they really don't understand, both in terms of ethical sourcing or even animal husbandry. I think this has been really important, and British farmers will tell you that. I launched that together with McDonald's on the Olympic Park with the whole clutch of British farms. So I'm very satisfied that we've actually moved as an organising committee this game on.
One other thing, McDonald's, I think to put it in perspective, I think I wouldn't want people to have the impression that
this is the
only food available. McDonald's will serve less than 10% of the food on the Olympic Park. So there is massive choice available. So anybody who has, anybody who has an issue with McDonald's
it's about you're holding the sponsors to account.
And we have.
Seb, in a letter you wrote me 2 years ago, you said that McDonald's, as a top sponsor of the Games, has signed up to our food vision. But if they are importing all that chicken, that isn't signing up to the food vision, isn't it? Because the food vision is about sustainability, which means getting food as local as possible.
Yeah, and I'm very satisfied that the contribution that McDonald's has made, both to the delivery of the Games as a global partner and to our food vision, has been substantial.
So you won't be recommending to the IOC that they never ever use the sort of sponsor that produces highly processed, high additive, sugar-rich foods in future?
The McDonald's have been a global partner of the International Olympic Committee since the end of the 80s, since actually the end of the 70s. And I'm sure they will remain a global partner for many years to come. And I personally thank them for the work they've done, not just around this space, but actually also around helping us train, using their training bases to help us with our volunteers too.
I throw my hands up in horror, but thank you.